All right, so tonight we are Patty is our volunteer for talking about our health topic. And is it hypo or hyper?
Hypo.
So we are talking about hypoglycemia, which is low blood sugar. And at the end of the night, if you have questions that may not have gotten answered through what she's talking about, we have a health professional that you'll be able to talk to, and you can ask more questions and go from there. But we're going to let her start, and then once she is done, then we will both be showing you how to make at least 3 of these recipes. So,
okay.
And talk
welcome,
nice and loud.
everyone. Yes, I have a pretty loud voice, so
yes,
hopefully you can all hear me. I'm pretty loud. So today we're going to talk about, like Jenny said, hypoglycemia, which is when our blood sugars in our bloodstream go very low. And this is an article written by a woman named Dr. Agatha Thrash. And I just wanted a little background on her because I wasn't exactly sure what her background was in the medical field. And so she graduated in 1954 from Medical College of Georgia. She worked in the hospital as a private practice pathologist and medical examiner. So she had a lot of opportunities to see how lifestyle affects the body. She and her husband founded a lifestyle center in Alabama called Uchee Pines, and I believe it's still going today. It's called Uchee Pines Institute now. So hypoglycemia. The term hypoglycemia is an unfortunate one. I believe accelerated aging would be better, which I've never heard it referred to like that. Hypoglycemia has 2 meanings. First, it's a condition in which the blood sugar drops below normal, and second, it's a degenerative disease. Part of a process of accelerating aging whose end stage is diabetes. While periods of low blood sugar are common in the beginning, eventually the blood sugar remains high even when fasting. All biochemicals in the blood have ideal levels, and for blood sugar it's around 70 to 85. People function better if their blood sugar goes no lower than 70 in the fasting state, but most cannot immediately notice a few points lower. I was a diabetic. I'm now in what they call no longer diabetic. And I remember when my blood sugar would just drop, and I would get this real foggy feeling, and I couldn't think, and so it had gone down below 70. Sometimes before they sense it, when levels drop too low, the brain, liver, and muscles are surrounded by less nourishing blood, resulting in unpleasantness such as headache, symptoms of allergies, inability to concentrate, fatigue, and weakness. A complex reaction must occur to cause a drop in blood sugar below 70. While eating sweets causes a very high blood sugar level, the pancreas then overproduces insulin, which results in low blood sugar level. This process is especially likely to occur if the digestive tract is irritated. Such irritation makes it become congested with blood. Nutrients are dumped into this large stream of blood, and the sugar levels are spiked. We tend to like manufactured foods out of a box. Cereals, TV dinners, soft drinks, and whipped toppings. And in the clinic that I work for, we call it the SAD diet, the Standard American Diet. These concentrated foods contain a wallop of nutrients such as fat, sugar, salt, various vitamins and minerals. And a lot of times they'll pull the vitamins and minerals out of a product, out of a food, and then replace it after they stripped it. So it's kind of like an artificially added. Several times the amount the body can properly handle in a whole day. Many also overeat, stopping only when the appetite is gone instead of when actual hunger has been quenched. Some things tend to go up with age, like blood pressure, pulse, cholesterol, triglycerides, fasting blood sugar, vitamin B12 levels, urea and uric acid, to name a few. However, this is not a requirement, but rather a sign that aging is occurring. I want to be younger. How about you guys? childhood, teeth get old if they are on a high sugar diet, and the stomach ages quickly with emotional stress. Luckily, all these can usually be reversed by change in lifestyle, and I will say I have experienced that, so I can tell you that it is true. So long as it begins before the structural damage to the organs occur. I know that there's some people who have diabetes, and not everyone is able to reverse their diabetes because their pancreas is no longer working, and so they have to artificially receive the insulin. However, the earlier these factors become elevated, the more likely one is to suffer serious disability in middle age. So how can we prevent accelerated aging? The first thing to do is to keep blood levels of biochemicals within the ideal range. It is important to remember that ideal and normal may be two different things. For example, we may determine normal cholesterol levels in Americans by sending 5,000 normal people through the laboratory, discovering that they average out at 150 to 300 milligrams of cholesterol. But this is from a population in which 53% will die of heart attacks. So the damage has already been done there. If we visit a country where they have no heart attacks, there are some, and send 5,000 people through the laboratory, we may get an average cholesterol of 50 to 100. And clearly the ideal is far less than the normal. So it just depends on what group you're actually putting through the test, the study. Avoiding the problem. So how can we avoid the problem? To keep your blood sugar from remaining high even during fasting as it does with aging, one must avoid the excesses of life. So lots of sugar and white flours, you'll hear that a lot with diabetics. Not eating a whole food plant-based diet, which is what I did, which is what actually helped me to reverse my diabetes. If fasting blood sugar levels are higher than ideal, start by reducing or even cutting out certain harmful items like margarine, mayonnaise, cooking oil, and fried foods, refined sugars, and all rich and concentrated foods. And I'll tell you, I have been so amazed, and Jenny's my mentor actually. She's the one that taught me how to cook plant-based, and I have been just amazed, as my husband has, and he was not very easy to persuade, that we can eat plant-based just as good, it was just tastes just as good as, or if not better sometimes, then, yeah. So, okay, where else? Certain toxins contained in alcohol, caffeine, and nicotine are especially likely to damage the pancreas. They should be avoided entirely. And also to get outdoor exercise daily and be regular in all your habits, your meals, your bedtime, your exercise, study, and work. God has provided us with marvelous bodies, and as we cooperate with Him, He will bless more than our efforts. So the takeaway is to prepare your food as close to how God grew it for us. And if we can get to that, then we do processed food here. You see that, but it's whole food. Oh, was it the speaker?
They're testing the mic.
Does anyone have any questions? Or any comments?
Would you explain again how having high blood sugar can create hypoglycemia?
Okay, so what it does is it creates a scenario. So for example, if you're eating sweets, then your blood sugar goes up so high, so your body sends the insulin to counteract the sugar that's in your blood, and then it overproduces insulin. So then when you overproduce insulin, then it drops your blood sugar. Because now you have too much insulin, not enough sugar, because there is a happy balance in there. It's just kind of throwing that balance off. Anybody else? Awesome. Oh, very good. Well, now we're going to move it on to Jenny.
Guess I can't shove any more food in my mouth right now. All right. First, we're going to turn this camera around. Anybody want to be a cameraman? No. All right. It just shows that we are normal people. There we go. Right about there. Sure, if you'd like to. It's kind of hard to see where we are though, because this thing's blocking. I think I got it lined up.
Sure.
Yeah. Hopefully. We'll find out when we look at the video later. All right. So the first recipe I'm going to show y'all, that doesn't go with these, that goes with the other recipe, is the cookie dough balls. Did you guys like those?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, did you guys look at the recipe for it?
Yep.
You don't know, if you didn't, you don't have to. There's like a star ingredient. Where's my star ingredient? Did I forget that at home? What is it? Oh, fiddlesticks. No. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna walk you through the recipe because so I have 4 children and a husband at home, and our house is crazy. And yesterday we had a school here that was from up north come and do some music stuff, and there was 50 of the kids plus the church members, and we fed them down in the gym, and that was insane. And then we had a beautiful women's program that was in this same room last night, and then we had a program over at the community service center, and I was cooking stuff for all of them. So I forgot the garbanzo beans. I am human. So the star of the show of those is that there's garbanzo beans in there. So you got some awesome protein. So we'll walk through the rest of it because I did want to show you how to make oat flour. So you can buy oat flour, but if you're on a budget like me, then it's easier just to make oat flour. Because oat flour is expensive if you buy it at the store. Put this up here because I didn't want Patty to trip. So we have it on camera. On camera. You're like, no, it actually happened. Look, I have the video footage right here. Okay, so making oat flour is so simple. You take your blender. You take your oats. So this is just regular oatmeal, old-fashioned oats. You can use quick oats too, but I like the old-fashioned oats just because they're processed less than what the quick oats are. So quick oats, they have just a little bit more steam to them. Of course, they're chopped into like bits like oat groats, like you would do like the hot cereal, oat groat cereal. And then they steam them and then crush them. So this is the whole grain that's steamed and then crushed. So a little bit less processed. Anyway, you're gonna process them anyway. So what I do is I just put my oats in my blender like that, and then I have a spoon. But you need to be so very careful when you do this because if you accidentally hit your blade when you're doing, usually I'll do like a lot more flour so that I don't get too close to my blade. Because if you hit the blade, it's gonna go clink and you're gonna go ah! And then it might. Anyway, you don't need to wait. So you just put your oats in like that. Safer if you have more oats. We're just gonna go ahead and turn it on. And I don't even need to use the spoon. A little bit now. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of moving the oats away from the side and pushing it toward the middle. Just so that the blade can chop it up a little bit. And then voila. You have oat flour. I know, right? Like super simple. Super simple. And if you like to buy in bulk, the cheapest place to get oats is the Amish store. You can get like a 50-pound bag for like under $40. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is. Especially if you go through a 50-pound bag like open up your mouth. That's would be. So that's how you make oat flour. So let's just say that I did bring my garbanzo beans, which I didn't. So you'd have your food processor, and you'd probably want to do a food processor like this instead of like this. And I always encourage people that if you like a recipe and you've tasted it, which is why we let you taste it, why make a single batch? I mean, if you make a double batch, it's something that you don't have to cook later on, and you can shove it in the freezer. And the cookie dough balls, if you eat them straight from the freezer, they're just so good. They're so good. Especially since you got to gnaw on it a little bit to even eat it. It's just amazing. So what you would do, you would put if you're using canned garbanzo beans, you would rinse them off because you want to get most of the sodium off of them and the aquafaba or the bean juice or whatever. And then you're going to go ahead and put them in your food processor. Then you would add your salt, and you would add your peanut butter and your vanilla and your maple syrup, which I guess I'm not adding any of those because I have no beans to add them to. And then you would whiz it up for till it's nice and smooth. And then once it's nice and smooth, then you would take your bowl and you would put your liquid stuff into the bowl. Then you take your oat flour. It's best if you measure it, but I already had it pre-measured. Then you plop that in there, and then you just stir it up. Real easy. And then the best part, you add your carob chips. So at home, I like to use half unsweetened and half sweetened because we don't need all that sugar, especially this time of year when everybody's getting sick. Which is probably why we're all getting sick, is because we're eating too much sugar. But tis the season, right? Tis the season. So you can get carob chips usually online. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it through Azure Standard, which is like a co-op. You can get them through Country Life Natural Foods. Sometimes a lot of the health food stores carry them, but you're going to pay about $6 to $7 a pound if you're buying it at a health food store. Otherwise, you get about 5 pounds for anywhere from $20 to $25 at a different place. Yes.
Is that sweetened or unsweetened?
So this has half sweetened and half unsweetened because I would like to go with the unsweetened because I feel like it's more similar to like a dark. It's like a dark carob, like a dark chocolate. But don't compare it to chocolate because it's not chocolate. But it imitates it. So the reason I like to use carob instead of chocolate is, one, it has way more calcium than what chocolate has. 2, it does not have theobromine, which is like a caffeine stimulant that chocolate has. And also, it's less irritating on your stomach. So, and there's other things, but I don't need to go into that. You guys can research it. But usually we use that. So once you have your dough done and you've mixed your wet and your dry ingredients, then you're going to go ahead and put that in. You can use a quarter cup or you can use more. I like to always use more. And then you can either roll them into little balls like we did, or if you don't have time to roll them into little balls because all of us are busy, you can take if you're doing a double recipe, you take a 9x13 pan, and you would either line it with some parchment, or you can use wax paper, or you can use saran wrap, and then you just take your mixture, flop it in there, press it down with your hands, and then you can score it in bars. Done. And you can just eat it like that. You can just eat it straight from the thing because it's just oats and syrup and yumminess.
And you don't bake them?
You don't bake them. Isn't that amazing? And you can eat it straight from the thing, and it tastes just like cookie dough, and you don't have to worry about salmonella or anything like that, or getting sick from it. And I will warn you, do not start eating it straight from the bowl. Just unless you don't want to have hardly any to put into your pan, because once you start eating it, it's very addictive. So, any questions with the balls? No.
Can you make them with regular dark chocolate chips?
You could. Yep. If you're able to eat chocolate and that's your thing, absolutely. And people have even been known to add M&Ms.
Really?
Yes. If you turn them upside down, it looks like Weight Watchers, but it's not.
So if you're going to make and keep for next day or 2 days or whatever, do you just refrigerate them?
Yep, you can refrigerate them or freeze them. If you put them in the freezer, they're going to last longer. But if your household is like mine, nothing lasts that long.
Now we have 4 kids, right?
For boys.
4 boys. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
They all have hollow legs too.
Yeah.
They have
Boys
hollow
eat-
legs.
boys eat
Yes.
more.
Yes. So, all right. So the next recipe Patty is going to do. We're gonna like tag team. What are you making, Patty? What are you showing how to do?
I'm going to make sliceable cheese.
Oh, she's gonna show you how to make sliceable cheese. And while she's doing that, I will go upstairs and make copies of the other cheese ball thingy. Man, that was like a really crazy cleanup here.
You got out of that one.
I know, right?
Okay. So I brought my blender because that's what I'm used to, so. Oh, you're fine. All right. So, the very first thing we have to do before we start this melty cheese recipe is to soak our cashews. Where did my cashews go? No, they're right here. Oh, she's gonna do that on the off. Okay, so here's my soaked cashews. And so what I do is I take my glass measuring cup and then I just put water in it, get it to a boiling in the microwave. And then I put the cashews in it and let it set for 20 minutes. So I already rinsed these as well. So cashews are dried out in the open. So it's a really good idea to wash your cashews. Did you share that yet, Jenny?
No.
Okay. Wash your cashews and rinse them really well because there's stuff that could be on them that you probably don't want in your recipe. Whatever can be out in the nature. So, the little caprese bites that you had, there was a little piece of sliceable cheese on there. So that's what we're going to be making today. And I'm going to switch these around here. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the first 9 ingredients into the blender. This will give us the base. So the cashews are the base. We're going to put water. I have water somewhere. Here. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and I got the cashews. Now we're going to do 1.25 cups of water. Pour that in. So I have 2 pans on the stove because we're using 1 pan that we're going to cook the agar water in. So agar is a seaweed. It's a cold water seaweed, and they dry it and then they grind it up. And then what it does is it's a vegan or a plant-based version of gelatin, because gelatin is usually from like pigs or cows, or, yeah. So this is a plant-based version of that, and so we're going to use that as our gelatinous. That's what's going to keep our cheese together to be sliced. Okay, tapioca starch. Now I've already pre-measured this stuff, so I'm just going to go ahead and pour it in. Tapioca starch is really good, even if you have autoimmune disease. Sometimes like cornstarch can be irritating, and so we tend to navigate more towards tapioca starch for that. Your salt, garlic powder. So I have to tell you a story. Jenny gave me a recipe to make for her sliceable cheese. I could not get it to slice. So that cheese ball that you had that had the cranberries on it, that's that recipe. I just took it and put it all in a ball, rolled it up and tightened it up, rolled it in pecans and cranberries, and that's what we got. Okay, so we're gonna hit yeast flakes. Yeast flakes are very high in vitamin B's, so they're very healthy. We have lemon juice, a tablespoon of that. We have 2 teaspoons of onion powder. And then I like to add a little liquid smoke, because that kind of gives it a smoky flavor. You don't have to, but my husband, the hardest thing for him to give up when we went plant-based was cheese. That was the very hardest thing for him to give up. So, when I made this recipe this week, because I made like 6 of them, because I was learning, and so he's like, oh, this is so good. So now we have a substitute. Okay, and the agar, I'm gonna go ahead and measure that. Okay, that goes in this pan over here. So I'm gonna leave that there. Okay, so what I like to do to test to make sure that my cheese is smooth enough is I stick my finger in and then I'll rub it between my fingers. And if I feel grit, then I know I need to blend it more, but this is pretty smooth, so I think we're good with that. If you want to make this an orange cheese, which I did try this morning at home and it's actually very good, I cook 1 carrot, 1 medium-sized carrot, dice it up, cook it, drain it, put it in the blender with all this in here, and it turns it orange, and it's just delicious. Make sure I get everything. Okay. All right. Let's see. So in a saucepan, I'm gonna. Okay, so I've got a cup of water in this saucepan here. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons of agar. I'll show you what it looks like. It's just kind of a white powder. Just kind of a white powder here. So we're just going to put 2 tablespoons. Seems like a lot, but...
And what is it made from?
It's made from cold water seaweed. Okay. So now the recipe calls for you to stir it together, then let it just kind of sit for a minute, just to get it all incorporated. So while that's doing, I will show you what I did with a black bean burger that I made today. So I took the cheese, the meltable cheese, and I put it on a burger today, and it melted on the burger. So I'm like, this is gonna be so great. I'll show you a little bit. Then you can also take this cheese after you've gotten it into the mold, like into this part. You throw it in the freezer, get it frozen, then partially frozen. Then you can grate it, and you've got grated cheese. So you can put it on pizza, which is my first thing I'm gonna try. Okay, so let's get this going here. And this high. Okay, we want medium. So you want it on a medium heat, because something else I wanted to tell you too, or share with you in my journey this week, is that this is a project you want to do with nothing else going on, because the agar tightens, and you don't want it to go over. So so it's one of those things you just have to keep watch on. The reason I have 2 pans is because the agar pan is going to get kind of coated, and it probably could burn if I tried to put everything in. So I use 2 pans. Do I have the right one on? Yeah, I should have. Oh, it's not getting very hot. Is it still working? Okay. Oh, there's a high button. Okay. Turn it up. Oh, there it goes. Let's turn it right now. So this is what you're going to start with. So see how liquidy it is? And you're going to keep stirring this until it has the consistency of like an applesauce, a shiny applesauce consistency. So this is one of those things you just don't want to walk away from it. So then after I get this mixed together, we're going to add it to the blender and then blend it into the other mixture. Then we'll take that mixture, we're going to put it into this pan here. So that's where the magic happens. So I made the yellow cheese or the orange cheese this morning, and within 3 hours it was ready to eat. So yeah, I'm very excited about this cheese recipe because part of what I do, part of my job is going into people's homes and teaching them how to cook to reverse their diseases, their lifestyle diseases. And so if I can find a good substitute, while that's blending, I'm going to spray my dish with non-stick spray. Tapioca starch in this will also give it some stretchiness, so we're going to put it in this pan. So you can add herbs to this cheese, which would be delicious. Dried herbs. I made another cheese ball the other day, and I put green onions in it with Kalamata olives. It was very good. So here you could use, this is your pizza cheese if you wanted to just pour it over the top, or if you wanted to use it as a dip, you could do that. But we're going to tighten it up, and then we're going to put it in the mold so that it can become a sliceable cheese. You could use it to make grilled cheese. You could put it on your burgers. A lot of options. There it goes. Just had to talk to it nicely. You could even put jalapenos. You could put buffalo sauce in this. Would be really good. Jenny's hot sauce that was in the cheese over there. That'd be good. Jalapenos. Yeah, you could roll it in jalapenos. That would be so good. Yeah. Okay, so when this comes to a boil, then we're going to boil it for about 3 minutes, and then it'll be ready to go in our mold. Thank you, dear. Okay, it's starting to boil. Does anybody have any questions so far?
Yes, but
Yes, Doris.
how do you make that smoke sauce?
How could you make it a smaller amount?
No, the smoke.
Oh, the smoke, the liquid smoke. You can buy liquid smoke.
No.
It's usually in the aisle with the pickles and barbecue in the barbecue section. Okay.
No sauce. Oh.
Wright, WRIGTHS is the brand that I found at Meijer. But then the Amish store has like this big jug of it for $6.46. So, yeah. Yeah, the Amish store we're talking about is in Nashville, Michigan. It's on Lawrence Avenue. I don't know if you know where Mooville is. Well, if you were to turn left on 66 at Mooville, immediate right at Lawrence Avenue, and just keep going down there, probably about 8 miles. Okay, so what I'm looking for here is for it to become stretchy, looking like it's stretchy, and we're not quite there yet. So I found this recipe on the internet, and then I just started playing with it and changing it to do what I wanted it to do.
So while she's stirring her cheese, there's been a little confusion on which cheese is which cheese. So I'll do that while you're stirring. So the recipe that I gave you, the extra one, that is this one, the cheese ball one with the cranberries and nuts. Okay. So the one that is for the caprese bites, there's pictures, which I figured pictures would be helpful because that helps me to find the recipes too. Although mine are in black and white, so you guys are lucky. You guys got the good one. So the baby caprese bites, that's the vegan sliceable mozzarella cheese. That's what those.
That's what this is here, yes.
Yep, that's what she's making right now. And then the spicy one is the sriracha and lime cheese ball. That's on the back of this page. So that's the one with the spicy stuff in it. So that's this one here, which is kind of more like a spread right now, because we didn't roll it into a ball, because life happens. So
Come around and show you real quick what it looks like when I say it's stretchy. It's just kind of stretchy, where it's not runny. Oh yeah. Right. Yeah, this is the consistency you want to get. Yeah. Yes. There you go. All right, so now we're going to put this in our mold. You could use any kind of a mold. I saw people that use like really fancy Jello molds. Just make sure you spray it first. Okay. I just had this picture of this cheese ball like this. Then you can decorate it with pomegranates or any kind of holiday colors you like. And then this will go in the fridge uncovered for about 3 hours, and it'll be good to go. Then you can cover it if you want. You can. Well, what I'll do is I'll flip it out and put it on a tray. Then you can just slice it. So that's it.
So before I show you the last recipe, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the drawing now, because I don't know about you, but this whole time change throws me off and it feels like it's midnight. I know it's not. So we have several things we're going to give away, and we have our lovely Melinda, agar packets for you. So our agar we got at the LLB Oriental store. It's right off the Saginaw. So it's right before Waverly. And they got rice noodles there that are cheaper than Walmart's. And they got a lot of stuff there. So that's where we got those from. Leslie, you're gonna get some agar mail to you. All right, next one we have is Harini. All right. All right, next we have Pamela Rinker. Did I say that right? Rinker. Okay. Pamela over here. Then we have Chris Holmes.
Oh!
You gotta tell me when we're getting close to running out of stuff. And we do this every single time because you know what? It's just so much fun to give things. I love giving things. But then we have Malaysia Oliver. Alright. Then we have Miss Doris Bruce. Now, if I don't pick your name, don't hate me. I have nothing to do with this. Then we have Miss Gail Mitchell. I'm trying to make it every time. I'm trying to give all you guys equal. This is an equal opportunity drawing. Genevieve Smith. Did I say that right?
Wow.
Did I say it?
That girl's got it, right?
How many more we got, Melinda? Are we done? Oh, we're done.
No,
Sorry,
no.
sorry, guys. All right. So before we do the next recipe, I'm going to go over these real quick because I told you I was going to. For those that came a little bit later, Community Service Center, back building here. If you know anybody that needs to stay, and if you know people that need stuff, that's what we're here for. Next, plant-based supper every single Wednesday, 5:30 here. We eat together. We get to know people from the community who are on a plant-based journey or curious about a plant-based journey. Email. We have our Facebook page. We're here to help you. So if you're making a recipe and you're like, I don't know why this agar is not doing what it's supposed to do, and I've made the cheese 3 times, not like I know anybody that did that. And I've made the cheese 3 times. Why is it not setting up? And I say, girl, your agar is old. You need to do agar. But that's what we're here for, is to help people along the journey, because sometimes it's hard to change. And it's baby steps. And it's not about taking things out, it's about just adding things new. So okay, recipe. Alright, so spicy cheese ball. Who likes spicy? Okay, good. I was like, what if there's people that don't like, a lot of people that don't like, nobody likes spicy here, then I feel like I'm out of sort, like I'm the only one. Okay, so little food processor. So I'm doing a little food processor because I'm only doing half a batch. Alright, so first thing we have is cashews. And I need to have my recipe so I know what I'm doing here. Thank you. Okay, so I soaked my cashews, and that helps them to be a little bit softer so that they will blend easier. Now, you want to, yes?
Are you just buying just plain unsalted?
Totally, yep, raw cashews. Raw. So they're unsalted, not roasted, not salted. Totally raw.
Raw?
Yep, and you can get them they sell them at Walmart. I usually get them in bulk from the Amish store.
Costco has them too.
Yes, Costco has them too, but I don't have a Costco membership, and that's so far away from me. I live far away from here. Anyway, so soaking the nuts helps, especially like if you're going to blend them or if you're going to food process them. So if you don't have a high-powered blender like a Vitamix, which Vitamixes are amazing, I would recommend start saving up $5 a week now, and like 5 years from now you'll be able to. But if you do not have a high-powered blender, then soaking your cashews helps. Another reason, you want to wash your cashews. This is the water that came from washing the cashews. So cashews are a nut, and they let them dry out in the open. So you want to wash them or rinse them. Yes.
What can you use instead of cashews?
So if you cannot do cashews, you can use almonds. You can use sunflower seeds. You probably want to increase the amount a little bit, but you want to make sure that whatever nut that you're going to replace it with is raw. So, but yeah, you can definitely replace the cashews. Because sometimes cashews are expensive. Okay, so you got your cashews here. And then, let's see here. Where's my hot sauce? Alright, so then we have our hot sauce. So, I didn't grow up eating this way, and so I want to say I've tasted the dark side of food. So I like things that are spicy and have lots of flavor, but it's not really the dark side of food, really. But I like food with flavor. So I use Tapatio hot sauce because it does not have vinegar in it. And sometimes if I have things with vinegar in it, it upsets my stomach, which vinegar can do that to the inside the lining of your stomach. So I just try to avoid that. We have people in our family that have different stomach issues, and so if I can help to alleviate that by not using something with vinegar, that's what I use. And I think it just tastes I think it tastes better just because I feel like it's more authentic. Then we have some nutritional yeast flakes. So this basically gives it just like a nutty, cheesy flavor, and it also adds a little bit of B12 to your nutrients, the nutrients there. Then we have some non-dairy milk. You can use oat milk, you can use hemp milk, you can use almond milk, you can use soy milk. I guess you could use real milk if you wanted to. But yeah, anyway. So you can use any kind of milk you want. Yes, and you want to make sure it's unsweetened, although and unflavored, although mine is not. Because I'm a rebel and I just use what we have. So, but yes, it does taste better if it's unsweetened. So, but I didn't want to go out and buy more. Yeah, I didn't want to buy more. Then we have our lemon juice. Is that our lemon juice or our lemon juice? I don't know. They look the same. Okay. All right. So then we have our lemon juice and our salt. And you can use less salt if you want to, and you can totally omit the salt if you want to, because I know some people, they can't have the salt. And then we have our garlic and onion powder. And if you wanted to increase the garlic and onion powder, you can. If you see a recipe, you're like, I think it definitely needs 2 cloves of garlic instead of 1, just do it. I mean, you know your taste buds, you know your own liking. So if you think, I think this should actually have like a half a teaspoon of onion powder, put a half a teaspoon in. I mean, what's the worst? It's not going to taste the way, anyway, experiment. Experimenting is fun. So then I have my lime juice. So what you would want, ideally, you would want to take your lime and you would want to squeeze your lime, but I was only going to use half a lime, so I didn't want to have this in the refrigerator. I'm not going to be using it, so I'm just going to grab the peel from it. And I don't have a peeler, what are those called? Zester. I don't have a zester, so I have this thing that will tear up your knuckles.
Yeah, wow.
So let's see, we need juice and zest of half a lime. So that was my lime, and then zest of half of it. So let's zest half of it. And don't slip, because you will feel it for at least a week. Is that about half? I don't know. Sure, why not? And it doesn't have to be exact. All right, we got our little bit of half a zest of lime there. So just a tip, if you have any recipe that calls for lime peel or lemon peel, get your apple peeler out. Peel that baby, all the way around, and then set it on a plate with maybe a paper towel underneath it. Set it someplace dry, like on top of your fridge. Within a week or so, that's going to dry, and then you can pulverize it in like a mini coffee grinder or even your blender, and then all of a sudden you have orange peel or lemon peel or lime peel. So I do that a lot. Okay, so once you have all your ingredients in there, now this is not my food processor, so now you just process it, right? You just push the button in. Yes, you do. you get me about this much of a piece of plastic wrap, please? Sure. Yeah, thank you. All right, so you want it nice and smooth. And of course, the longer you soak your cashews, and the closer you use the cashews to when you dumped out the water is good. I dumped out the water probably prematurely, but it still did pretty well. Perfect. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put this thing here. That's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Thank you. So before I put the cheese on it, I have my walnuts here, and they're not quite as small as I'd like them. And at home, I usually use a rolling pin. It's my grandma's rolling pin, and it's the best rolling pin ever. And I like to smash my nuts. So with the rolling pin, you just put your nuts into a bag, and if you have a brand name bag, it won't break open, unlike a non-brand name bag. That's all I'm going to say about that. So I'm going to use the bottom of this, and you just think, the socks didn't get picked up, and they didn't put it in the laundry, and you just pull it, and pretty soon, you got them all smashed, and it's perfect. So you just think of different things, and it's fun to smash things. So I'm going to go ahead and put these on here, and then I'm going to scoop the cheese onto it. That way, when I turn it out, then it's already going to be covered with stuff, and I don't have to barely touch it again. Now this is a half a batch, so it's not going to obviously not as much as a whole batch. So let's say you made this cheese and you made it for an event or for a family gathering or whatnot, and some of the people didn't like the heat. You could totally omit the sriracha sauce if you wanted to. It could just be a lime cheese ball. Oh, thank you. You're gonna lick it? Yeah. Do your thing, girl. You gotta lick it. So let's say you had some leftovers that you took home. Does anybody like enchiladas? Has anybody ever made enchilada lasagna? Where instead of rolling them up, you layer it. Okay, you see where I'm going with this? Okay. So you have your cheese ball left. Well, it's spicy and it's cheesy. So if you throw it into a blender with a little bit more liquid, and you make yourself some enchilada type beans, and you layer it with some corn tortillas, and you can pour your blender mixture over that, you got this amazingly rich tasting spicy cheese that was basically just made out of something that you had left over. Alright, I'm going to sprinkle some of those on the top. And I'm just going to close this baby up like that. And twist. And then I'm just going to set it in the fridge like that. And then once it firms up, then we just turn it out just like we did the cheese ball here. And you got yourself a yummy cheese ball. Any questions? No. Man, either we confused you or you got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
That tapatio, where did you get that?
Tapatio?
Uh-huh.
So you can get that at Walmart, you can get it at Meijer. It's with all the other hot sauces. And it's the one with the Latino with the hat on, sombrero. Oh yeah. Oh, it's probably in the ethnic section where all, like, you can find your masasika, like the corn